Hello. It is honor to present at the conference. I'm Seungwook Park from Ina University. I try to share the PowerPoint slide. Okay, I hope you can see the slide. Today I'm going to present medical cold chain platform strategy. As I mentioning it, I'm Seungwook Park from Ina University. It is an honor to present it at a very nice conference, and I hope I can actually provide some important information to all of the participants. The agenda of the presentation looks like that. So I'm going to start from number 1 to 8, and then I finalize the presentation. First, why cold chain matters. There are a lot of problems in Peru medical supply chain. Around 50% of the vaccines wasted globally, and the cost of wasting account for around $120 million annually. So that is a huge wasting, and actually some kind of the loss from the Peru the government. And also, in order to maintain the cold chain for medical materials, including the medicine and other products, you have to maintain the 2 to 8 degrees Celsius degree. And typically, around 37% of the rural clinics report excursion or defects events. So they failed to maintain this temperature. And then 25% of biologics affected by the incursion or error in transit. So when you move a medicine from one place to the other, around 25% of the medications will be damaged by the inaccurate temperature. So the question in today is no longer can we cool it, but it is can we prove in real time that it stayed cool? In other words, we have to prove that we can maintain a certain degree of a temperature all the time through the beginning to the end of a transit of a medication. So as you see here in the screen, that in order to maintain the medical cold chain, you have to maintain the 2 to 8 Celsius degree, all of the places from the uh, beginning point to the end point. So in order to do that, you have to increase the visibility and traceability and the trust. And that is a very, very important requirement in order to building up the medical cold chain. Peru has a lot of problems in order to building up the medical cold chain because of the logistical challenge. Peru is geographically divided into three distinguishable areas: coastal desert, um, Andean highlights, and then Amazon regions. So, because of that kind of the typical distinguishable division of the geographical areas, it is hard to building up the medical cold chain. So, no single route or truck type or packaging standard cover all the three regions. So, when we actually building up some packaging standard, it may work at the coastal desert, but it would not work in Andean highlights, etc. And then also traditional static standard operating procedure meets 80% of real world excursion patterns. So a lot of error or defects occur because of that. So because of these problems, I suggest to building up the platform approach rather than the traditional, the facility-based approach. So that's what I gonna actually suggest in this presentation. What is a platform strategy? The platform strategy requires the framework shifts from owning asset or facilities or trucks to orchestrating information and flows. So traditional approach focuses on the fleet or trucks and then facility. So each hospital and distributor owns its own cold storage and temperature logs captured on paper-based etc. So you can see a lot of the old traditional approach, and we need to change that one to the platform approach by digitalizing and networking based. So we can see the shared digital layer across hospital and 3D, I'm sorry, three-party logistic companies and regulators, and the real-time IoT telemetry on every shipment, so we can measure the temperature throughout the whole the transition or the movement of one place to the other. So we can actually predict in some kind of alarm or some kind of expected or unexpected problems in delivering or moving. So that's kind of things. So those things must be included in the platform. So the company, I mean, so Peru needed to change traditional approach to the platform approach. In order to implement the platform strategy, there are a lot of critical challenges in moving to the platform. So first one is infrastructure gap. In Peru, we can see a lot of infrastructure gap, physical and energy deficit. So only 40% of rural clinics have a reliable electricity. So if you don't have electricity, you cannot maintain the certain degree of a temperature in the box you're moving from one place to the other. And also the fragmented logistics. As I mentioned it, there are three geographically uh, distinguishable areas in Peru. So multimodal complexity needed it. So when you're moving the item from the Costa Desert to the Amazon area, you can actually use trucks and sometimes boat or mule transport. So those kind of things are really uh, difficult or challenging things. And then regulatory gap, dizzy meet compliance burden. So in order to deliver the medication, you have to maintain or you have to meet compliance requirements. So paper-based temperature log is not actually working. So you have to maintain the real-time reporting systems set up, but right now you don't have it. So it is hard to set up the real-time reporting systems. And also the human capital is a really challenging issue in Peru. Skill and then awareness of a shortage, rural clinic staff untrained in cold chain handling, and high turnover in logistics workforce, and the language barriers by the regions regions in Peru. So those kind of things are challenging. Now, how can we solve the challenges? In order to have the consistent and continuous electricity in clinic, you have to use a solar or PCM systems. So off-grid cold storage, so solar-powered vaccine freezes with phase change materials. So 72-hour holdover without electricity can be a problem. So proof in you can actually maintain um, the consistent electricity using the solar system. And also you can see the unified tracking. So you have to maintain the tracking, even you change the transportation mode. So single IoT tags per shipment must be attached to the boxes or the ice box and moving from across truck, boat, and mule. So you can see that the long range, the wide network system needed it based on the satellite. So that's kind of things will be solution. And then digital compliance. So automated digital meet reporting. So as I mentioning it, you need real-time sensor data, auto generated audit reported must be, excuse me, set up. And then local capacity, you have to train, empower field staff to understand what cold chain supply, medical cold chain. And also they have to know how to handle the boxes or what the facilities and all the kind of equipment. You need to uh, maintain the good medical cold chain. So, in order to do that, you need the four enabling technologies. First one is IoT sensors. IoT sensors will communicate the temperature in icebox you're moving in the truck and to your platform or your headquarter. So you can actually maintain the certain level of temperature all of the places from beginning to the end. And then also you can maintain the same amount of humidity or shocks and GPS, etc. So you can actually have a long range, wider area network based IoT system is needed. So that is an enable technology. Second one is AI and then also machine learning. So in order to predict the failure before it happens, you needed the AI system and then machine learning, and then you actually predicting it. And then blockchain will help you to building up the security of the paper or yes, sorry, security of the information. So auditable change of custody for regulators and manufacturers and the hospitals. So you can have a seamless traceability of the record or information using blockchain. And then the final one is digital twins. Digital twin will actually help you to simulate all the route or the practices of a medical cold chain before you actually implementing it, and then see the problems before it occur, and then you prevent the problem occurring. Okay, so that's kind of a thing. So you can actually need it. So there are many technology you need it, but I mean these four technologies are really important enabling technologies to building up the medical cold chain. In order to building up the medical cold chain, you actually must using the three-layer architecture. First, physical layer, you can actually see that the temperature, humidity sensors, such as IoT, and then GPS tracking. So you have to have a real-time tracking of the boxes moving from one place to the other, or medicine you're moving from one place to the other, and cold boxes, and then refers, and then dry ice, and then PCM. Those things are physical layers you needed to building up the medical cold chain. And then also, in order to have a good traceability and visibility in medical cold chain, you need a data layer. So IoT gateway, as I mentioned, it long range, it wide network system needed it, and then 4G is a minimum, but you can go to the 5G or in later on in the future we may have a 6Gs. So you need a faster downloading and faster uploading is needed. And then time series database is needed to analyze the cases of a failure, and then you can prevent the problem happen again. And then edge it pre-processing and then integrating API systems, etc. And then intelligence layer, you can see the machine learning anomaly detection. So you can actually um, predict problems in advance. And then self-life prediction and route risking scoring. So when you take it the many different routes, you can actually measuring the risk taking their routes, and then you can actually scoring it. So you can actually, based on the scoring system, you can choose the best route. And then alert orchestration. So those things are needed to building up the medical cold chain, and that is a three-layer architecture. And if you're building up this kind of three-layer architecture in your country, you can actually decrease excursion losses of failure of the temperature, maintaining temperature, and then audit compliance will improve, and self-life utilization improve too. And then also the fast real-time based reporting is available. Now, building nationwide platform is not coming one day. It will take a quite long time. So I expect at least in a 6 to 8 year project. So phase one, you have to go to the 1 to 6 months, 12 months, and pilot corrid. So you have to go to the pick up the one high volume traffic route, and normally Lima to Arequipa, and the pilot test. You have to do the 50 to 100 pilot test shipments, and then you can collect the data, and then you're actually analyzing it. And then also phase two, you can go to 24, 36 months, take it. And so you normally take a 2 to 3 years. So in order to go to regional expansion, so extend it to Sierra and the Selva lanes or routes, and join two second and third party logistics providers into the systems. And then you can testing it, launching predictive alert engine, etc. And then phase three, you have to go to the 36 to 48 months. So nationwide platform and open application, and then test the blockchain system and building the San Marcos University led skill pipeline, etc. So again, building up. So it'll take 6 to 8 years, but I mean, um, in order to, that's a minimum actually. So if you have a very slow process of action, taking action, then it'll take longer than 8 years or sometimes going to 10 years, etc. Now, in order to implement this medical cold chain, we have to working together. San Marcos University and United University can work. So we actually have a new school building up, then Faculty of Industry Engineering in San Marcos University. That is a digital supply chain logistics engineering. And in that program, we can actually include some courses or classes related to the medical cold chain modules. So we can actually teach the students. And also we can do the joint R&D. So doing the San Marcos University and Indiana University co-research on incursion prediction for Andean and then Amazon routes or areas. That is a really challenging area. And then finally, we actually promote in startups through the San Marcos University's Incubadora 15501 for healthcare cold chain ecosystem. So you can actually encourage the many startups building the companies to help or to participate in the medical cold chain in the future. So that's kind of things that we can actually suggesting, actually working together. And I hope San Marcos University and Indiana University continue to work together to moving forward to building up the medical cold chain in Peru. And we actually working on the CONSTAC to get it, some kind of a collaboration. And also we try to have some ODA funds to help with building the medical cold chain in Peru in the future. So, muchas gracias. Thank you. 감사합니다. So it does not matter how actually slowly we go, as long as we don't stop. So Confucius told us that it does not matter how slowly we go, as long as we do not stop. So I hope we continue to move forward to building up the medical cold chain. Okay, thank you very much. And I hope to see you in San Marcos University in future.